So, Tom, do you remember in the last episode when we talked about potential things that Blizzard could, you know, build into the warband system? So, what happened was, while after we recorded that, an article came out on Wowhead where it actually a small little, thing got into the new patch, which is that all the raid skips for raids where you could skip to the last bosses, they are now account wide retroactively. So if you've done
There we
on one
go.
character, you should now have access to them on all characters.
Amazing. If only we could go back and edit our Warband episode to add that in. But again, we didn't think of that one. What a great addition.
There we go. So, yeah, but that's not what we're going to talk about today, because today we're going to delve into something else. Hello, and welcome to Talking WoW. My name is Marty, and this is our podcast where we talk about WoW. That's the name. Thom, you're here as well. How you doing?
Hello, Marty. Yes, we're here to, I believe, talk about your new favorite pastime.
I don't know if it's my favorite pastime, but it's definitely.
It is. Like every time I log into Warcraft these days, this guy, he's in a delve.
I mean, it is.
I can't deny it. You can't deny it.
I mean, you're probably right. I don't know when you're logging in. I mean, you might be just logging in every time that happens. Stands to be in a
Just
delve.
a coincidence.
But no, it is true. I've done quite a few delves, but it's because it's an amazing way to fill up your vault for any character, mains, alts, whatever. The only exception is if you're doing mythic content or very high key mythic plus. If you aren't doing those things, then why would you not fill up your vault? And I've been doing that, so it's great for my main because we are raiding heroic. It's great for my alts because they're just passively, without putting in too much effort, getting better gear. And it's actually kind of enjoyable. I like most of them. There is some of them, especially the underwater ones, where I'm like. Yeah, these are not the most fun ones to do, but but you don't.
Gotta roll a druid for those ones, Marty.
I know. Have to do it right. But one thing that I have discovered, and maybe we could delve into that a little bit, is that they are actually kind of fun to do on different classes because you have different things you can do to overcome the delves, and. So it sort of feels like when you're going in on an alt, it sort of feels fresh, and I think that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, because we played this in the alpha beta, and I remember like distinctly thinking, like, this is okay, but I think I'm gonna get bored of this real quickly. I think I'm gonna do like a delve like once or twice, and then be like, do I really want to keep doing this? And I think it does help that there is the scenarios in the delves that changes it up a little bit. I wouldn't say it vastly changes the landscape in there, but at least it offers a little bit of additional flavor. And you mentioned about the vault as well, Marty, and I have to say that I've probably unlocked more vault slots in the War Within so far than I did in the entirety of Dragonflight, simply because I don't really do much Mythic Plus. I don't really do much raiding. But the fact now that I'm like out in the world doing world quests, and then suddenly I get this message that pops up like, you've unlocked something in your vault. And it's like, what did I even do? I was just playing, like I was just out in the world doing stuff and, jumping into a delve here and there. And suddenly, when it comes to reset day, I get to be part of that crew that I've watched on social media, that crew that I've seen in Discords, where they're all like, I can't wait for Wednesday. It's like Christmas Day, and I get to open up a new like shiny item that then inevitably I'm disappointed about. And I was like, I want to be part of that crew, Marty, and finally I can. So it's great to be part of this crew. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, welcome. It's always more fun to have more people to share your loot wins with.
Disappointment, yeah.
And disappointment, yeah. Delves. I think because pun 100% intended. I think I'm the one who delved most into it between the two of us.
It was close, but it was you
Yeah.
by a whisker of Brann Bronzebeard's mustache.
I mean, currently at recording time, my Bran is level 60, and yours hit what? Did you hit 30 the other day?
Look, we don't need to talk about the size of our Bran on this podcast, okay? We don't need to do that.
But I think it has generally...
It's half the size, okay? Is that what you wanted to hear? My Bran is half the size of your Bran.
Thank you. No, so I think that I generally wasn't sure how much I would be doing this, and I think I am a little bit surprised how much I've been doing of these delves. But I think just...
I'm surprised. Actually, I'm surprised how much you're doing it, because, you know, you like doing Mythic Plus, you like doing raiding, and I know delves have been offering like pretty nice gear, and it's very, very accessible. But I gotta say, like, it does seem to be sort of one of your main funnels now for, you know, gearing up things.
Yeah, it is, and I think it definitely will be in the future as well. But I do think that going forward, my delving will probably go a little bit, you know, down in activity right now, because I've also been achievement hunting, and I have aimed for doing all the delve achievements, and I am reaching a point right now where there's not too much I can directly target. It's more like stuff I need to do over time, like opening 250 chests. I mean, I will do that over time. It's not something I can do in a week. Well, I probably could if I made enough alts, but don't want to go down that route.
You'll be done by that very soon.
No, so I mean, I think the only really targetable thing right now that is left is like trying and get stuff done on 11s. And I think that they are sort of like in a combination. I'm very ambivalent about the harder difficulties, because some of them are fun because the delves themselves are a little bit easier, others are a little bit harder. Some classes excel better than others, and it doesn't always feel like a plain playing field for the classes, and yeah. So I think the 11s really depends on what class you are playing.
So yeah, speaking of class, and you brought it up as well, didn't you? That, you know, whether or what class you take into a delve can really change up how that feels. And something, you know, me and you have been doing together, which I've really been enjoying, is we've been playing like feral druids, and we've been trying to sort of relive, I suppose, classic vanilla days, Marty, where, you know, you would used to maybe take a couple of druids and a rogue and try and, you know, stealth to somewhere, maybe like Blackrock Depths, to like target a certain boss, or, you know, something like that. And we've been going through these delves trying to, I guess, be a druid and be quite pacifist and not really kill what we have to. And, you know, navigating our way through that, picking off foes and stealthing through. And it's such a different, you know, vibe from maybe playing like a paladin or a warrior or something, where you're just going in like, give me all the mobs, I'm gonna hit all the mobs. And yeah, like, how's that experience been for you? Because obviously, you know, it has been mentioned on the show previously, you have a lot of alts.
Yes.
So, you know, where are you finding you're preferring sort of your class / spec falling into when you're doing delves?
It really depends. It really depends, because there's definitely some classes where you can just run in and hit everything, and you can and that's faster than trying to do weird skips. But then there's definitely also other classes where it's just like Druid is a good example. You can stealth, so why would you attack more than you actually need to? Priests have like sort of two different things they can do. Either they can mind control and either get an extra ally, like a hard-hitting mob, on their side, or they can mind control to get the other mobs to attack it and kill it all for you. They also have mind soothe, or so, you know, the mob's aggro range is smaller, so you can skip a lot of packs that way. You cannot directly stealth, but you could skip a good chunk. So already there's a few different play styles. Hunters can solo a lot because they have the tankiness of the pets, so the pets is taking the brunt of the damage while the hunter is just killing off stuff. And just looking at the utility of each class and what you can do, just really, you know, you can approach these in so many different ways, and there definitely is a path that I've been down as well, where it actually takes longer doing these weird, obscure things, but it's just fun, even though the delve took like 40 minutes to get through. But I had 40 minutes of fun going through it. It's probably not something I would do to get through on all my, 7 characters, because 40 minutes every time is a long time if you want to fill the vault and do 8 delves. But no, you can approach it from so many different ways, and I just really enjoy that. I like using my brain and figuring things out and doing things a little bit differently one day, but then the next day I just want to run in and just smash things as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we all have those days for sure. It's usually a Monday. And something like you mentioned it there, but I don't think we get to use our full arsenal of spells like on our classes for so long. I mean, if you're out in the world just, doing quests, soloing, stuff dies so fast. Like you never need to use like entangling roots or, something like that. And I know, for example, in raiding and mythic, sometimes there's a bit of crowd control there, but as far as I'm aware, it's not quite the big of focus. It's more about taking the mobs down as quick as possible, finding that optimal route and getting things done as quick as possible. And I think Delves really shines here because we don't have that time limit. You can go in with one person solo. You can go in with multiple people. So you have that option to play it how you want. And then when you go in there, like you say, you can do janky stuff. You can be like, oh, I have this ability on my class. I'm going to, try and use it. And in fact, I think Delves really does encourage you to get to know your full skill set, like all the skills that you have and all the talents that you have as well, because sometimes that is beneficial. And of course,
especially on lower item level, especially when you're on lower item level, you want to maybe use CCs a little bit more, like hard CCs, like polymorph and things like that you don't necessarily get used to often these days. So I think it's kind of from someone.
We need more sheep in World of Warcraft.
Exactly, from someone who used to love that playstyle back in 20 years ago when we started playing World of Warcraft. It's amazing to see that here's actually some content where it makes sense to use it again, and where it's okay to use it and you're not getting yelled at because you're the only one there. Maybe Bran yells at you sometimes, but I mean, I don't listen to that guy anyway. So.
Don't stand in that! Yeah, Bran, oh my goodness. I mean, maybe we can talk about Bran in a second, Marty.
We probably have to, yeah.
You and him have quite the relationship after the many delves that you've done
together. I
boosted
him to level 60 and I didn't get a thank you.
I'm sure he gave you a bit of gold, right? He gives you your share.
3 gold.
So much gold. Thank you, Bran. So generous.
Not even a repair.
Like I was going to say, though, it depends on like what spec you're playing, because if you go in there like DPS, it feels like you're getting hit pretty hard, especially like in melee range, and it's good to sort of know what abilities can do damage reduction for you as well. And it feels like a really great staging area just to get to learn your class a bit more and also get to learn just basic mechanics, right? I think World of Warcraft has really lacked a space where players can go in solo and, have this puzzle to figure out. We've seen it in the past, maybe with Legion and the Mage Tower, which highly revered, a feature that has not really been replicated since. And the player base, you probably ask anyone in the player base what they thought about the Mage Tower, and they'll tell you it was an excellent addition and some quality solo content. And now we've got Delves, which it's different, but you can still go in there and you've got bosses that do certain things. They have certain mechanics, and actually that repetition of going in there and experiencing those bosses and experiencing what they do, like that's good for any sort of player. It's good for players that doing Mythic Plus, but it's also good for players that maybe haven't made that step up yet, and suddenly they're being faced with, oh, okay, actually I do need to use my cooldowns because when I'm out questing, like I don't have to, and suddenly you're taking a closer look at those things. And I wouldn't say it's sort of up there with the likes of the Mage Tower on the skill set, but there's still, there's multiple tiers of difficulty, and that ramps up in difficulty, and you can actually do certain levels of delves like under geared if you are utilizing your full set of skills. So it definitely, for me, has been surprising that way, that And we mentioned it there, going back to those classic days where, using a bit of crowd control, figuring out, can I pull this mob without this other mob coming? It's just sort of getting back to some basics there. And it's all in this environment where you can do it with a friend or you can do it by yourself. And I'm treating these more of like experiences. It very much reminding me of just, dungeons, how they used to be, where these days, like, Mythic Plus is the thing, right? And it's timed, and it's such a different energy compared to this. And I've really missed having some content like Delves in the game where you're not clock watching all the time and you can just take your time with it and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the doorbell rings, you just park yourself in a safe spot and you can go do that, and it is no problem. The only problem you might have in there is actually Bran himself.
Here we go.
I find a lot of the times when I wipe, it is 9 out of 10 times because of Bran doing something completely random. Like,
definitely Bran. It's definitely Bran's fault.
I will totally acknowledge that sometimes I've been standing in poop that one shots and it killed me, and that's 100% my fault. I'll take that. But the other 9 times that I've wiped is because Bran is not stealthing with me, or he's like, all of a sudden just, a mob looked weird at him and he decided, I'll attack that mob now. And
Bran sometimes has to go all in, okay? He has to. And he tells you he's going all in. So when he goes all in, you got to be ready.
Yeah, and apparently I wasn't 9 out of 10 times. So I think that is sort of probably my like highest thing on the wish list for Delves is probably a way to control whatever companion we have with us a little bit, or give them orders, or
being able to add your companion to your block list.
Maybe. I mean, it could maybe even be fun to be like, I just want to be here solo. I don't need I don't want a companion. Maybe we can just leave Bran at the door. Maybe we can be a little bit in charge of when he's interrupting, or sort of like a little bit like hunter pets. I don't know how it would work to not make it overly complicated, but I think something along those lines where you can control your companion a little bit would make this even more fun.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there is some unpredictability about Bran's movements and where he's going to go, and sometimes he just sort of teleports places. Good old Warwind bugs. We do like them sometimes, and it will be interesting to see in the next season and the season after that, because it feels like Delves are going to stick around. Do you get that feeling? Because they've restructured the vault layout, and it doesn't feel like it's just here for this expansion. It's got an icon on the map, Marty. When you've got an icon on the map, it means you're sticking around.
I think the plan is for it to stick around 100%. But yeah, so far I've been enjoying it. So what do you think? Have you enjoyed Delves? Have Bran wiped your group? Let us know on social media. We are now on Blue Sky and on YouTube and everywhere you listen to podcasts. I've been Marty.
I've been Thom.
And we've been talking WoW.
Thanks for tuning in, champion. Did you enjoy this episode of Talking WoW? If so, why not drop a review on your podcast catcher of choice, or leave us a comment. You can find Talking WoW on
Blue Sky
or YouTube over at Talking WoW. Hope to see you again soon.